I want to give my heartfelt gratitude to Derbyshire for the patronage towards the channel. Anon versus Tyvar, Urza, and Alila. And we are last in the turn order. All we need is a land there to make that decent, but we don't have one. And there's no chance that we'll get into one, I don't think. Or a very small chance, I should say. Or a very small chance, I should say. That is looking good, we keep. And on turn 0, we've had a scoop. So hopefully you're not seeing this video, otherwise it's the best of a bad bunch. Need to remember to block this guy, actually. Turn 1, Sensei's Divining Top, the best card in our deck. We draw into another land. I want to keep hold of the fetches for as long as possible. This is a mono-coloured deck, but we might not like what's on top of our library, so using the fetch lands simply as a shuffle effect. Alila spins the top, and then decides to tap down the Sensei's Divining Top to put it back on top of the library so that they can draw into a Chrome Mox. And throws underneath that a Meat Hut Massacre. Throws down Lotus Petal, all this without his commander in play and only 2 cards in hand. And that's why, because he's going to be able to refill his hand with Necropotence. I've built a bracket 4 deck here, by the way. There's an absolute chasm. I don't know if it's in Magic the Gathering in general or just online, but there's an absolute chasm between bracket 3 and bracket 4, and I think there's definitely a lot of room for improvement there. Some kind of bracket 3.5, power level 7 meme type thing, where you want to play with the Game Changer cards freely, but you don't necessarily want to try really hard and just be one tiny rung underneath CEDH. But we'll see how the game goes here. Like I said before, hopefully you're not seeing this because we've had a player scoop already. Goes down to 28 life and 11 cards in hand. He'll have to discard to hand size and exile some cards from hand here. And then it's even more fast mana, a Sol Ring from Urza into the Ornithopter. Discarded previously. There's Fierce Guardianship, Malakir Rebirth, Power Artifact, and Darksteel Mutation. And then we see Mox Opal, after casting the Alila that is, so making the first fairy token. Going heavy on the Necropotence again, he goes up to 9 in hand, and discards a Silence and a Grim Monolith. The other Esper player throws out a Dig Site Engineer. I can barely read it with this frame. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, pay 2 to make a construct, and gets out a Mind Stone of his own. Well, we're catching up on mana there with that Sol Ring at least. Let's go for... yeah, there's nothing that cares about us casting artifacts at the moment, so I'll go for the Sol Ring immediately into the Sapphire Medallion, and then we can set up with a Simulacrum Synthesizer and scry 2 upon entry with that. Shows us a Spectral Deluge. That is probably going to be a good idea to keep hold of. I'll put the Buried Ruin on the bottom. Replays the Divining Top after drawing back into it previously. And Goldforged Thopteryx is going to give his legendary permanence Ward 2, and it starts to turn in sideways for the first time, going up against the Urza player, Steel Overseer, and it looks as though he's going to be paying the tax on the Dig Site Engineer, so makes the first construct, which enters as a 4/4, so definitely worth it. And this is going to be adding plus counters to his artifact creatures throughout the game, so Alila needs to start being careful. We're seeing all the cards that want to be dropped on our side of the field here, a Reality Chip. So let's see what we can do here. We could get this down for 3 mana and still play things off the top of the library. Our commander obviously adds mana though. We'd only have 2 mana left after the commander, apart from tapping these down, assuming that there's a rock on top or something like that. Worst case scenario, we can just foretell this. Or it might be better to get down the Worldwaker Helm actually, because we've got a token generator now. Anyhow, let's go for the commander. I'm guessing Alila has plenty of interaction and just wants to sit back and wail on people in the air. We have Reality Shift on top, which, if we're looking to bounce everything, then I'm not sure that's the best, so let's go for a Shuffle. We can't cast that off the top anyway with our commander. And then it's Swords to Plowshares, so I don't think it's going to be relevant, but we might as well tap down for mana and throw that back into the command zone. And so I think we are going to be reliant on the Spectral Deluge, so yeah, the toughness is going to be less than 3 at the moment on most creatures, so I think we're fine to go for that. Ready for next turn. It's noteworthy that with our commander, the mana doesn't have to be spent on spells off the top of the library. We can use it for things like Foretold cards, Flashback, things like that, anything that's not from the hand really. I don't have any Flashback cards in the list, and we've only got a couple of Foretell cards as well, but thought it was worth including just to show you. A combat research onto the Alila means that he's going to consistently be swinging in with that, apparently. I suppose he can always chump block the big constructs with these things. Won't kill them off though. And then swings 4 of his fairies into the right and we get the Thopteryx. So we're back down to our starting life total. He's down to 3 cards in hand again. Draws a card with Alila, so up to 4 cards in hand. And obviously still got Necropotence available. 31 life to pay into there if he wants. And then an Armageddon. Forgot that you have Mass Land Destruction in bracket 4, so that's where we are now. That's what I'm talking about. There's no bracket in the bracket system where you can just play with all the game changer cards that you want but not have Mass Land Destruction and things like that, which is kind of the area that I would want to be in. So it's something that's worth figuring out for the powers that be, I think. A Silvermere is going to fix the blue mana of the 3 colour player, but this guy's going to easily be able to keep up chump blockers for big constructs, I think. Puts a bunch of plus counters on stuff and swings in with his 3-3 and the 9-9. Should probably go in with the 1-5 as well. He does. Chumps the 9-9 and takes 4. So let's see if we're lucky and get into an island here. We do not, so there's absolutely nothing we can do. Bunch of life being dumped into the Necropotence again. And now is showing us a Seal of Cleansing, so makes another fairy token and can blow up any problem artifacts or enchantments with this. The commander goes into the right, as do the other fairies. He's got double blue now thanks to his mana dorks, but he's going to have to tap down his flyer to generate that, which he might not want to against this flying onslaught. The Bronze Guardian is going to give Ward 2 to his artifacts, so if he wants to go for Seal of Cleansing, he'll probably be better doing it now. Decides to let it down, so maybe he's looking at our stuff. The constructs are now 10-10s. Swings in with the 3-3 as well. Not much point in holding back the reality chip because he can't block with it anyway against all the flyers, so should have been swinging in with that. So he's forced to block a couple of 10-10s here, and we're still in top deck mode looking for an island, which we do draw into, so we can go for a 2 mana Thought Monitor now, and that will trigger the synthesizer for the first time. So we'll start to get some big attackers of our own, allowing us into another land. It is not a blue land unfortunately, but clearing those off the top maybe we'll be able to get something going next turn. If we draw into another island, we'll at least be able to cast something. Ideally we'd go Psymaster Thopterist into the World Waker Helm, and then we can start making a bunch of map tokens and Thopters and constructs, stuff like that. The more and more plus counters appearing over here, the more useless the Spectral Deluge becomes as well. Still concentrating to the right against the onslaught, so might be that there's another board wipe coming here because he's not holding back any blockers, unless he can make plenty of blockers between now and then. Knocked him down to 9, and then used the Seal of Cleansing to blow up the Bronze Guardian. Paid the Ward 2 on that, and now there is even more card draw off a Skull Clamp. And then replaying, he did just replay the Sensei's Divining Top and then tapped and drew again. And then he's just exiled it off the top, so we'll get that back into hand. But hopefully, Alila's days are numbered. I don't fancy our odds against the Esper player after that though. Reality Chip being reconfigured onto the Mana Dork, so that means that it's now an equipment and he's going to be able to play off the top of his library. And it's just a bit of a mirror match this, isn't it? Don't often see mirror matches in Commander, but a Skull Clamp. And this is, again, whilst I'm crying and complaining about brackets, this has always been my issue with higher brackets, and the reason that I don't play CEDH and even bracket 4 apparently, is because you tend to see pretty much all, well not all the same cards, but a lot of similar cards, which you see in Commander anyway, but there's a lot more variance in the lower brackets like 2 to 3, so I think you get a lot more variance in those areas of the power system. Anyway, these two continuing to trade blows, so the 11-11s will be chumped and he'll have to take the 3 damage. Now a mountain, or an island even, would be ideal here, and we do Windmill Slam an island into play. I still don't think it's going to be good enough, but getting down chump blockers with Psy is going to be a good idea. Drawing more cards with Uthros would be good as well, but I think concentrating on Psy is going to be a better idea. Still only 2 mana thanks to that Sapphire Medallion, and so now it's between the World Waker and the Uthros. I think Uthros, because we can cast this into it next turn maybe and draw a card. I think card draw is more important than getting down the map tokens at the moment. So make our first Thopter from the Sai and get another construct into play, and that buffs this up to a 9/9. So towards the tail end of the game we're seeing a little bit of how the deck's supposed to perform at least. And if we go like that, I don't think we necessarily need to worry about blocking with this, so we'll use this to crew the Uthros. So yeah, we'll swing in like that and deal 11 damage. We can actually threaten a lot of damage with this next turn. So let's station up with the construct token and with the Sai, which we can't block with anyway. I'm just assuming this guy isn't going to deal a bunch of damage to us. I'm actually assuming that he's going to go down next turn, but maybe not. Alila is down to 12 with Pain Mana and Necropotence in play, so only way to draw cards at the moment is with Skull Clamp, unless he wants to put more life into this. He's got Sensei's Divining Top, which he can play and draw with as well, and that of course will make the Fairy tokens when he does that. He's made use of that right from the beginning. Continues to wail on the Esper player. Haven't worked out if this is lethal or not. 6 plus 3 is 9, so he's got exactly enough in the air, apart from the fact that there's a 2/4 blocker here, which can become a 3/5 and get rid of the Thopteryx, which wouldn't be the worst. So activates the Steel Overseer for the plus counters, and instead blocks Alila. Not sure if he should be worried about commander damage, maybe he's worried about the card draw, but he's going to keep these creatures in the air. Maybe he's not worried about him getting another turn for combat, but there may well be enough blockers made during the second main phase. So loses his means of blue mana, still has the silver mirror over here, and now holding up mana, so he's got coloured mana from the Mox Opal, the Ancient Tomb available as well, and back up to 19 thanks to that life gain from Alila. Decides not to swing in at all, curiously, probably because he doesn't want to set us up. So any spot removal from Alila is now going to be coming onto us, seemingly. He can't block our flyers either, so plays Solemn Simulacrum. So if he gets another turn, he's going to have 2 lands in play, and we get another island is great. So I think we want to be swinging in with this thing. Need another couple of loyalty for that. So I'm just going to tap down the Thopter and the Sai, hoping that we'll get another one this turn. Another few Thopters, I mean. And this thing's a sorcery, unfortunately, so if our opponent makes some more blockers at instant speed, there's not really a whole lot we're going to do about that. We can't bounce his commander at the moment and knock that combat research off, unfortunately. But we've currently got a 9/8, maybe should have buffed that further, but at the moment we're going wide on him. I'm under no illusion that we're actually going to go wide on this guy here. So goes through to blocks, which means he's not going to make a blocker at instant speed, so might be that we've just got him here. Alright, awesome. Managed to take him down to -1, so we don't get punished for not doing anything during the first main. How much is our commander again? Currently 6 to get out, so depending on what's on top of the library we could afford that, but I think I'd rather get down some artifacts here, so we'll go for the Helm, and we'll draw a card to that thanks to the Uthros and setting that up last turn. Getting down the maps seems pretty useless here. I mean, at least this is going to trigger the Simulacrum Synthesizer, but yeah, with our commander in play it's definitely worth having the map tokens that we can use as mana rocks. You know, I've just drawn into Mana Drain, which is also tempting, but I think I'd rather get down as many blockers as possible here, just in case. So get down another artifact. It is the Crystal Skull, which allows us to play artifacts off the top. So we'll draw a card. Sai is going to make a Thopter token, which the World Walker Helm will see, and make a map token. Obviously this is going to trigger the Synthesizer as well, so all the synergies eventually coming in handy towards the end. And we've got an island on top of the library, as well as some blue mana available here, but unfortunately that isn't enough to go for the Mana Drain. So we'll just hold up the World Walker Helm and make a copy of a Construct, which are currently 18/18s at the moment. Managed to make another land, so he's hitting those lands and getting various means of different coloured mana, so he's not out of this yet. 5 cards in hand and 3 life. And our opponent feels as though he can't do anything here, which is what we were assuming anyway. We were going to reveal a Solemn Simulacrum, so it might have been that we could have done some stuff off the top there. We would have shuffled all these cards away anyway, had we have gone for Solemn, thanks to the Rampant Growth. So yeah, really not my kind of game. Like I said, I think we need something between bracket 3 and 4 to avoid Armageddons and stuff like that. As it turns out, I don't think we saw any of the different game changes in this list. I'm just going to look over at my other monitor. I'm not sure how many game changes we have. We have 7 in Ancient Tomb, Mystic Study, Mana Vault, The One Ring, Urza, Cyclonic Rift and Fierce Guardianship, as well as 6 tutors apparently, according to Moxfield. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed that one. If you want to see it again, as ever, then you must let me know in the comments section. Leave it a like for the YouTube algorithm gods, and a huge thank you to the patrons for their financial support of the channel as well. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.